Alright, so I'm trying to do this in a more simplified way so I can make more of these videos because I don't feel like setting shit up anymore. I don't have like a setup I can just keep set up and just eventually I'll get there. But today I'm going to show off and talk a little bit about Connor Willumsen, who's one of the great cartoonists of contemporary cartooning. I'm gonna try to do this in a I'm gonna try to do this like in order chronologically of his comics, but I might be mixing it up a little bit. I am missing a couple things from here to there, but I think this is a pretty good overview of his stuff. It's definitely more annoying to show off comics this way, but whatever, this is what you get. Okay, so I think this might have come out the same year as Treasure Island, potentially a little bit earlier or later. I'm not sure which came first. This style looks completely different, but you can still see what's going on. This is just a one-shot. I think maybe Connor Willumsen was interested in a career in superhero comics earlier. I'm not sure. I was talking to him a little bit on Instagram about maybe doing an interview in the future. We'll see. I think he did one with Bubbles, but I probably should have reread that before doing this. His work's extremely different, like from piece to piece, although he does kind of have a signature style, which is hugely inspired by manga and Eastern art. This is a pretty brutal story. Another one I'm missing, which I should probably get, he did like a Wolverine comic. Just like those usually I have no interest in superhero stuff. But sorry, it's a little dark. Pretty good use of colors, although I think he didn't do the coloring. I hate how they, like, instead of having the copyright and all the info here, a fucking ad. This is why I refuse to read Marvel stuff. I'm not going to be advertised to. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out, I should have figured all this out, but whatever. This is a loose video. I'll probably make a better one eventually. So yeah, Connor just says artist. But yes, color, James Campbell. They did a great job. So I guess he did the penciling and the inking here. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid the glare. Not the best camera either. I'm gonna stop complaining about my own setup here in a sec, I swear. Very violent comic. Of course, it is a Punisher comic. And if you're trying to find this, it's called Untold Tales of the Punisher Max. Terrible name. Number 2. So this is the only indication that Willumsen's involved. So next, I'm going to show you Treasure Island. This is a Rizzo trilogy from Breakdown Press in England. Now these, I think, are second printings, as there's some problems with these actually. A couple pages repeat, although I think I have every page. Let's see. These are out of print, long out of print. I got lucky and found them from Dale's Zine Shop for somehow. They had all of them, $10. So they're each in a green single color Rizzo print and about 55 pages. So this is hugely inspired in my eyes. I can't really say for sure, but it feels hugely inspired by CF, and it's kind of in that thin line, like Mobius line of thinking, line of cartooning. And this tells the story of two scientists, but they're like working class scientists struggling to fund this mysterious... Here, let's do this. A mysterious conservatory where they're watching over this strange nature park. I really probably butchering this story, but I'm not here to destroy the story for you. Hopefully this will eventually get a reprint. There's some incredible art in here, of course. Pretty simple compared to later stuff, but I just love the simplicity. It feels unfinished in a great way. Like, not unfinished, but in terms of design, so much space. I wonder, there might be a scan out there you can read this thing. I mean, look at that. I'm going to show Power Masters 1 for contrast. This came out in 2007, I believe. It really like changed everything. I've done a whole video about CF, but interestingly, a lot of people aren't really as aware of his stuff, even though from like 2007, 2008 onwards, for the past 10 years, from there to about a couple years ago, he was like, everything was inspired by this. I probably should do a follow-up video about CF. So, here's part 2 of Treasure Island. I think there's only like 500 copies of this made. Sorry. The art just gets like better and better, of course. Quite a few years in between these, so chronologically this might be fucked. It's like hard sci-fi, but none of the sci-fi is actually shown. It's more alluded to, kind of like Power Masters. Like and I was referencing it because not just the art, but the story, doing something like genre within indie comics was still pretty new and untreaded territory. This did come out later than I thought. This was 2015. Volume 1 came out 2014, so for some reason I assumed earlier, although it might be because these are reprints, I think. I don't know. I'm speaking out of turn, I'm out of control. These fucking... This is like his most simple layout-wise, even though you can see what's gonna come next is like definitely an evolution from this. I remember getting this and being kind of disappointed the first time I read it. Don't ask me why. He recently did a Breakdown Press, I believe, did a collection of his figure drawings, which you can see he's really good at. I'm not like too sure about how he got into cartooning, but there's some info out there about, I guess he studied with Frank Santoro, who's not, I don't know if he's works at any university, but he was running like a male cartooning school. several people were part of this, but Connor Willumsen seems to be the most prolific, even though his style doesn't remind me of Frank Santoro at all. I think it's more conceptually tied. Yeah, so there's this whole backup story that kind of is ridiculous. It's this criminal duck and a pig, and I'm really not. I've read this a few times and I still have no fucking clue how it fully relates to the main story. And pretty much all his books have that. This might have been earlier, or sorry, not this. The Pittsburgh Indie Comics Expo. What year is this? 2017. So this is actually probably later than some of the other stuff I have, but he has a single page in here that's really nice. And this even reminds me of Aiden Coke, which is also hugely inspired by CF. That's it. That's all we did in there. And we're gonna move. This is like his biggest book to date at this time. This came out 2017, so same year as the one I just showed. Oh, George. Oh. Antigone. This is Kioma Press. Of course, out of print, but I think you can still find copies for like, I don't know, 40 bucks or something. It's not that bad. It's so worth it. So, this is the first Connor I read. I think sections of it were featured in Best American Comics in 2017. Can't remember who edited it, but... So, this was drawn apparently all on vellum with pencil, and then vellum was sat behind it and it was scanned in that way. And it gives it like the most amazing gray tone. I think a lot of people who are active in this kind of scene and cartooning, their work is pretty, you know, it can be beautiful, but not as fun to read, or almost more more about design, more about drawing, where Connor is like the perfect balance, where his stories are so like incredibly, you would think with these panels you would be a little confused as to how to read the page, but he formulates everything to where your eyes move perfectly across the page, never slipping, never missing a beat. How dark that is. And this story is like a strange, futuristic, or maybe it's in another universe, tale about this world where essentially it kind of alludes to the world being fully underwater for the most part, except for the main cities. As you see, they're like start out on this little tropical island, and it's just basically following these two characters that seem to be lovers. They're on a mission to go do something in the city, so they want to go see a movie, but they want to find some cool drugs first. And a large portion of this book is the drug dealer that they... Look at that. The drug dealer that they meet up with, this guy, is explaining all the options on the menu. And essentially, they're pretty esoteric and strange. Look at that mall. I think this was the section that was in Best American Comics. Kind of convinced me to go and buy this book, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, and then this has a similar conceit where it keeps showing this other mysterious goings on with a skunk climbing this endless stairs. Sorry, I'm very distracting myself here. This is part of the movie that they go see. Anyway, okay, so the drug dealer is pitching them on these drugs, right? And they have very different tastes. I don't remember their names, but okay, the guy's name is Spider, and he gets to choose the movie. They're gonna go see a movie that's like his favorite thing, some comedy, and one of the drugs is it basically gives you partial amnesia to where your short-term memory's gone, and he has or long-term. I don't know, fully understand, but he can't. You'd be seeing the movie for the first time with no memories of it. And it doesn't say what she takes, but it ends up being a drug where you think you're gonna die and the world is ending. And so this whole last section is like potentially within her head. Antigone. This is his next book for also Koyama Press. I think came out 2019. Pretty crazy, like how prolific he is, which is insane considering he hasn't had a book in like 4 or 5 years now. Bullshit. Hopefully, like New York Review Comics will do something. Now this one is way different, although the art is somewhat similar. Hugely manga inspired. The story is strange. Basically, it seems to be about Bradley Cooper, the actor, set in some weird like Las Vegas desert, and he is gone full method actor essentially, and he's playing a runner, I guess. And so he's just out of control, running everywhere, being followed by his handlers. But it also might not be Bradley Cooper. Here's a scene where he's at an awards ceremony in the bathroom with Leonardo DiCaprio. And they're pretty creeped out. Look at some of these layouts, though. I mean, the perspectives are just insane. Drawn all in pencil. Look at that. It's like a formalist master. I mean, how could you even draw stuff like this from reference? I don't know. George. Mr. Lopez. So, and then this one has an even stranger conceit slash side story going on that is fully out of my understanding. I've talked to some people that have given some reading, but like some of this stuff, after a couple reads, it'll click for me, especially with Antigone. Anyway, this is probably, unfortunately, out of print as well. It's just a matter of time before he gets a new publishing deal. It's kind of shocking to me that Fantagraphics hasn't picked him up. He's done multiple panels for them at SPX and whatnot, but this is the newest thing that I have, to my knowledge. Sorry, there is actually an issue of Kramers he's in, which I'll show next. LAAB number 2. Now this is an interesting, gigantic anthology, printed in sections, this volume. So it's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 giant sections. This is one of the most unwieldy things I've ever read. But we got a good, nice one-pager from Connor here. And this is the closest thing I've seen to his, him looking very Frank Santoro-y here. Santoro-esque. Look at that. That's Pittsburgh, baby. Here it is in full. I feel like this is his least ambitious format yet. Although this is a really cool, it's almost like an ad for some futuristic mind product. And then we got Kramers 10. This actually might be the first place where I read his work and I just didn't realize it yet. So he's got seemingly the last comic in here. Yeah. And this is probably the most powerful comic in this whole anthology. This might be my favorite issue of Kramers, honestly. Look at these layouts, I mean. Dude, if only he was in Kramers 7. Imagine. I don't think he was active at that point. Look at this. Usually I would see something like this and be like, wow, that's probably unreadable. And pretty sure that's how I reacted upon first seeing this. But no, it's incredible. This is part of it. Like I said, he always has, it's almost like Lynchian, the contrast between his stories. There's always an A and a B story going simultaneously that sometimes connect. In this one, this guy is trying to deliver a mysterious package, and he has seemingly his son or his little brother in tow, and they encounter a very sassy taxi driver. And slowly it's kind of revealed what this package is, where he's taking it, and what's going on. Although it's never really answered, of course. It's a perfect mystery comic. And I actually read, Sammy Harcum has stated that this particular volume of Kramers, although he was embarrassed to say this, that it's about comics making. So there's actually several threads throughout these comics in here that touch on mysterious boxes that are not ever opened. Although this one does end up being opened and it's a snake. It's not revealed the purpose fully. Boom, this is out of print too. It's like such a shame how fast stuff disappears off the fucking market. And then actually, we do have one more. This X-Mag #1, baby, from Piao Studios. I bought this specifically just for the Connor, but it's also a really good anthology. I've got a few of them. Unfortunately, Piao has ceased operation. Pretty sad. So, the Connor book is, of course, in the back. Always save the best for last. This is a pretty hefty comic, too. Probably like, I don't know, 24 pages or so. Maybe not that long, but it's dense. He really fits as much info as he can without making it straining on the reader. This is like a very Philip K. Dick comic from him. It's got these, it's in like this futurist world. So comics are all in a futurist world, so I'm just gonna leave that part out from here on out. But they're in a world, look how Mobius this looks. They're in like this future world where old people are hunted by their grandparents or grandkids, and so they're trying to escape one of their grandkids that's also a dolphin person, and there's this method where they have to go and travel all this crazy terrain. And so hard to explain these comics. They work so well though. But one of them is pretty sick and is running out of their pain pills. The other one is very righteous and keeps offering them all their pills. But they are too hard-headed and they start falling apart as the story progresses. Don't want to ruin it. This is probably hard to find too, but if you can find it, it's so worth it. Like, worth any amount of money to me. And that's Connor Willumsen for you.